22, go ahead. 1 call, 3 call, next, please. 10-4.
This is Heinisch, aka the Hurricane. I just want to tell you a little bit about my story, my pain, and things I've went through to have got me here today, and I hope this story can inspire everyone out there. I was fortunate enough to live it and survive it. Amateur, I've won 4 MMA fights, 2 Muay Thai fights, all finishes, and pro, I've won 7 fights now, 3 finishes, and 0 losses in either one. It's a story about a kid, who had a lot of potential physically and mentally. I started wrestling about age 11, went to middle school, won a few state tournaments. Got to high school, I was a freshman, wrestled 152. It was a struggle between school, wrestling, and just partying, hanging out with friends, just maybe hanging out with the wrong crowds and just falling into temptation. So I flew out to Canada. I ended up loving Vancouver. It was one of the coolest cities ever. And I was like, I'm gonna stay here. This guy found out I was working in Canada illegally. They snatched me up, and 4 months in jail over there. I got deported back to the States, and I was back to square one. I was back in Colorado, broke, and not knowing what the hell I'm gonna do with my life. I started getting some pills sent to me, and just started selling little by little, and it was just, making good money, and it was just addictive. And eventually I got set up in a Walmart parking lot. I'll never forget, a gun to my head, drug force, boom, to my head, and they put me in, and I remember I bailed out and I said, no way am I going to jail at this age for years, no way. I took it and packed up all the stuff I could get in my backpack, and I said, I'm out. And I took a Greyhound to Indiana. I said goodbye to all my family. Then I went to New York. Boom, New York, NYC to Amsterdam with about $1,000 in my pocket, didn't know anyone. It was always a dream I had to backpack the world, and this was kind of the big push that says it's time to go. My cousin had a friend in Belgium, so I went over to Belgium, and I actually got a job in the Irish pub over there, and so I met this crazy English guy. We hopped on a ferry to England. When we got there, I didn't know his idea of a job was painting some empty apartment that we also lived in. No furniture, no hot water, no carpet. We just pretty much camped in the room and painted it in the day. I needed something better, so I went down. I found out all these English people go to Tenerife, go to the Canary Islands. So I was like, all right, I cruised down there. And I met this American out there whose father was Cuban, and they took me in like family. They still are like family. And I lived with them for a while, and after I got my head straight, they said, hey gringo, let's go make some real money. And I was like, yeah. That's when it started again. I started going down to Colombia, Venezuela, Aruba. We, you know, get the merchandise, bring it back. I think after, I don't know how many trips, but after a while, I had too many stamps in my passport, and they took me in and they took me to the hospital. You got bottles of drugs in your body, what is it, what is it? I ended up getting a 3.5-year sentence, but first I sat in prison for a year without knowing nothing. So it was just to the point, I mean, they broke me a few times in there where I was just said, I don't care what happens to my life. That's how you had to be. That's how you beat them. The great thing was they had a wrestling program. It's called Lucha Canaria. And it was best out of 3 in a gladiator pit. You had some weird shorts. You rolled them up, you shoulder to shoulder, grabbed each other's shorts. Best out of 3 takedowns, and you go one after another, no weight classes. And I crushed it. I killed the whole team in the whole prison. Nobody could beat me. And then they started bringing professional teams off the street, and I smoked the whole team with some help with my buddy from Chicago, Holton Blair. And me and him were just crushing it, and the newspapers were interviewing us like, who are you guys? Like, and the president of the federation wrote the warden a letter, said, when this guy gets out, sign him, because we're gonna sign him, so keep him here. And they con-aired us, and it was crazy. Like, it was like 200 just criminals, hard criminals, murders, rapists, pedophiles. I mean, it was bad, and they didn't like anyone that wasn't Spanish, and it was a crazy feeling to be like the minority and just be the one everyone hates because you're just different. And they didn't even make me go through the airport. They put me in a jail cell in the airport, walked me to the plane, took the handcuffs off, gave my passport to the flight attendant and said, all right, you're free. And I'll never forget that flight. It was crazy. I was free for the first time in 2 years and 3 months, and it was just like a surreal feeling. And I knew I was going right back to jail when I landed in New York because felony warrants. They said, you're going to Rikers Island. It was the worst ever. I've never been treated so bad. I got treated like a straight animal. And boom, came 2 big football player looking dudes, and it was the U.S. Marshal. And they said, hey man, we're going, we're out of here, pack your shit. Finally, we got to Jefferson County. Boom, I bailed out, 2014. Valentine's Day, exactly. I'm on my way to be a world champ, and I hope I can just motivate people, and I would love to open up a gym someday where kids can train and not go to jail or prison or a halfway house and just live in the facility and train. And I hope I can help them like I was helped, and I hope this story motivates a lot of people and for generations to come. You know, flipping a switch in the brain and just going into straight battle mode. But right before that fight, I try to remember the darkest times in my life and just know that my opponent hasn't been there, and I'll take him, and I'm willing to die over losing, and a lot of guys can't say that.
Strong grip, strong pull. TRX, time.
The hardest times makes it easy to get through it, knowing I survived that. So once I was free, I knew I needed a good gym to go to, and I think I went to like one little gym, but I knew right away, I was like, no way. And this guy hit me up, he said, hey man, I heard you want to train. I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, well, I go to this gym, Factory X, and I'll take you there. And he's like, I was like, I don't have a license, I don't have a car, I don't have nothing. And he's like, don't worry, I passed by where you're at, so I'll pick you up and drop you off. I was like, awesome. So a few months went by like that. And right at that time, I got my license, got my car. It's so meant to be. God blessed me with everything, and it's awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope everyone liked this documentary. I put my heart and soul into it. The cage, it took away my freedom, but then it also gave me the freedom and opportunity to do what I love. It's really a story of darkness into light, and the journey into the light has just begun. So tune into my next fight. Also guys, follow me on all social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Don't be shy if you have any questions, reach out. I love helping people try and find their light and just know they can change their situation that they're in at any time. Some more of the documentary is going to be coming soon, so stay tuned guys.